Great. I mean, we asked ourselves fundamentally, when you're building a campaign, what is it? Where do you need to go? What do you need to focus on? And clearly, for us, we know that services are more popular than pay for public servants. So therefore, the idea is to build the effect on paying conditions. Is the effect of budget cuts on the sector, whether on services or on paying conditions. So the fundamental questions that all local government has to ask itself is, where does the money come from? Taxes go to central government? Are they local property taxes? Are they private investment? Are they outsourcing resourcing? And so fundamentally, the target that you choose as part of your campaign depends on where that funding goes from and who eventually it goes to. Does it go to the local council? Is it from a central investment pool that is then put into the region, so a centralised top-down approach? And who actually drives the priorities? Is it the centre? Is it the central federal government? Is it the council, the local regional community that makes the decision, the community themselves, or do the server user have these? And often you'll see the debate between the first four, but the worker voice gets very little input into service delivery. Often we are forgotten, we are left by the side, and one of the things we wanted to do is reassert the worker voice in that process. The emergency impacts have obviously, I won't go into this because Robert has well shown that when government face a disaster, money can be found. Money is never available until there's a disaster, and then it's a lot. COVID, climate change, and national disasters, money always becomes available. And we certainly introduced a very expensive furlough scheme, which we worked with the government and was very successful. But ultimately, funding budgetary constraints always affects services and paying conditions. So can I go to the next slide, please? So, based on the former, we decided what we needed to do was identify and target the source, e.g. which bit of government is that we need to target. So we also wanted to identify if we can do some partnership with working with employers. So on this campaign, this is clearly central governments who fund local and regional government. The way our government is structured, most of the money comes directly from the centre, so that became our target. We also hoped to work with the employers' organisations to get some direct funding, more for funding for services, but they're less likely to work with us at the moment because they're from the same political grouping as the ruling government, and therefore don't want to be seen to be taking the side of the workers against their government. So that's that. So obviously we've been looking around recruiting allies, and we work with some of the organisations that do work out there where we can. But to build a campaign, it's standard stuff. Many of you know about this. You start with getting your activists on your side, you get the members on your side, then you need to get the public on your side. And you need to do that. You need to be seen, to be active, to be interesting. So I'm going to show you a short video next after this. So if we go to the next slide. And if you could load the link just below that video, the HTTPS YouTube, if you could load that video, that'd be great. Ah, great, brilliant, that's fabulous, thank you. Hazel, and if you could go to the next slide, and while you're loading up the second link. So what we did, that video, for those of you who understand young people, that is stolen from Marvel Comics, the Hollywood video, where people disintegrate as part. I don't know this. We had a young person to write it because this was not a target. It was not our traditional audience we were aiming at. We were trying to get young people interested in the campaign. Hazel, if you could go to my next slide of the thing. So what we've done is we joined that video, which is fairly miserable, but I'm told that's the sort of thing that gets good coverage on the agenda. And what we've done is we've linked it to a website that I hopefully will show you in a minute. And the website, what that allows you to do is click on the website. It takes you to a map of our country, and within this, brilliant, yeah, great, fabulous. And you can see that. And if you want to go down to the one below, that one, yeah, fabulous. If you click on that site and then click on one of the yellow dots, choose whichever you like, East Midlands, and then click on any of those, the Lincolnshire. So like, if you hold it there, that's great. And as you can see, what it does is it tells you how short of money your local council is. So you'll see for that particular county council, they have a gap in funding of how much they get from central government of £6 million. And that means that basically that's needed for refuse collection, public health programs, care for the elderly children. And you can go to all of your local council using this map and it will tell you how much we do. And we update this every year to keep good thing. And if you go down, Hazel, if you could go down to the bottom to the contact your MP. What that then does is we ask people then to email by clicking on that. They click on their address, their postcode, and they then send an email directly to their Member of Parliament on that, and that will do it. So thanks, Hazel, if you want to leave that site, because I'm aware that I haven't got a lot of time. So the campaign is active. So we want people to do something. So we can get that process. And Hazel, if you could bring up the final slides, that'd be great. So it allows people to see exactly what it is. So far on that video, that's our second video. We launched one last year, which basically went to the people in the street. And the people in the street said, they were given a question, what would you like? Would you like to close your local toilets or your local library? I'll be, well, I don't want to close anyways. Well, you've got budget cuts. What are you going to do? What do you want your council to do? And that got 1 million views. This, so far, we launched this at the end of April. We've had 480,000 views on this. And our campaign, so far, we've had 12,000 people emailing their members of parliament. And to our website, we've had 35,000 people have visited it so far since the end of August. So you can see it's had some direct funding, direct impact, and we know because young people are more likely to get active and involved in this. That's why we targeted them to do some active work. So what we're looking for, and it's a bit some of the things that Robert said, is we can see that the current models of taxation in the UK are broken. You know, the council tax is local, it's out of date, it favours the rich. We now have a situation in the UK where our students who have to pay their student fees back have a rate of marginal tax of 50%. So once they start paying back their student fees, every time they earn £1, 50% of that goes off in tax to the government because they're hit by this, they're hit by all the local taxes. And we've also got a problem with business taxes because the government wants to move them away from a central pool and then handing them out to the areas of need, to actually leave that to the areas to collect their own business taxes. And what that means is, you know, in centres where there's lots of money, they will keep their business taxes. But in poor places where you don't have the businesses, you don't have the big companies working, again, this hits those local services. So we're looking at alternatives, working with partners and other organisations about community wealth building. So rather than getting outsourced to big multinational companies, you encourage local employers to get involved in the local community, to work with you and voluntary services. You know, the idea is you focus more more of your spending on the community as opposed to buying in services from multinationals. Looking at progressive climate taxes, encouraging changes, focusing more on taxes of profits after they've done recruitment, after they've done research and reinvestments. Issues around inheritance taxes. We have huge inherited wealth in our country that is then passed on from one generation to the generation next with very little taxation, yet that's unearned income. It isn't something that people are earning. It's something people are inheriting and building that wealth, and that wealth means that it sticks with the rich and it's never redistributed. And also issues of progressive property taxes. So I think, Darren, I'll have to send there because I have to disappear for 20 minutes, but I'll be back. So I hope that's shown people about, you know, some interesting new ways we're challenging and trying to do things. And I'll see you in 20 minutes or so.